We don't know who they are. We don't know their records. We don't know their plans. But they can get Glocks. Firearms instructor and Turning Point USA contributor Paige Rue. Paige, does this make any sense to you?
Jesse, I feel like we're still being punked. I'm waiting for someone to come around the curtain and say, don't worry, guys, we're going back to normal. This is another level of just mind-boggling. I train new shooters. I train law-abiding citizens to exercise their Second Amendment right. And they're concerned with, okay, am I following the law? Meanwhile, the government is giving illegals firearms. And then they're saying, oh, but their Second Amendment right is being violated. Last time I checked, the Second Amendment doesn't apply to them. And just like you said, there are some states that are doing a good job. Texas is on the right track. However, this illegal says that he doesn't have a record, but he, like you said, crossed state lines or cross country lines illegally. That's a crime. I think that's a pretty big red flag. And then also he obtained a firearm. He can't obtain a firearm legally if he's an illegal immigrant.
How did he get the firearm?
So that's red flag number 2.
How did he get the gun? It could have been a hot gun and the judge doesn't even care. He can get an illegal gun, he could get a sex change, and then he could probably commit a crime and still stay in this country and be on a pathway to citizenship if the Democrats have their way. It's unbelievable. Paige Rue, and that's spelled with an X. Figure it out. Thank you so much.
I'll tell you this, the federal judge in Illinois ruling that a federal law banning illegal immigrants from owning guns, well, guess what? They think it's unconstitutional. William Lajeunesse is live from Los Angeles to explain. Hi, William.
Good morning, Dana. This ruling totally upends existing law, which says illegal immigrants cannot legally buy or own a gun. The case involves the man you're seeing here, Huberto Carbajal Flores, an illegal immigrant who fired 7 shots during a George Floyd protest. Now, prosecutors charged him with illegal possession because of his immigration status. His lawyer fought the charge, saying Flores needed the gun for self-defense. A federal judge appointed by President Obama agreed, dismissing the case, writing, quote, "The non-citizen possession statute violates the Second Amendment as applied to Carbajal Flores."
The judge specifically notes that that's the reason that this individual has a firearm, because of the neighborhood they live in, because of the need for self-protection, of protection of home.
So the judge refers to a 2022 Supreme Court decision that found cities and states can limit but not deny an individual's right to own a gun. However, that ruling did not exempt felons or other prohibited buyers. Under 1968 law, those here illegally or unlawfully cannot possess a gun. And the federal background check specifically asks buyers if they are a U.S. citizen or a lawful resident, or if they are here as an alien here illegally. If so, they can't buy the gun. Well, experts tell us this new ruling could create a nightmare for police. The law saying one thing, the federal judge, something else.
It essentially throws a grenade into the room of firearms enforcement. It's going to make it a nightmare for law enforcement to actually try to go after people who illegally possess firearms.
So most expect the U.S. Attorney to appeal, but so far no word from the DOJ on what new legal guidance it will give the ATF or FBI, which of course enforce gun laws. Dana.
William Lajeunesse, thank you.
Call William La Yasharahla Shem Yasharahla Shem Kakadash, the honor to the Prophet Elsewhere Millstone, peace citation, hope for election 1. And I made a title of this lesson something to the effect of illegal immigrants are now protected under the Second Amendment. But one thing I find crazy is that when it's coming to like the amendment rights, I mean, those are supposed to be rights for everybody that's in this country, whether they be legal immigrants or whether they be U.S. citizens. But first and foremost, like, since this country likes to go by, labeling people, depending on their status, like they got a green card, if they're considered to be an alien, citizen, whatever the case is, it's like, you're still a human and you're pretty much entitled to human rights and things of that nature. But now, when it's coming to Esau and his unrighteous decrees, he has it to where, you know, he has laws out there and legislations that go as far as, you know, making things unfair for certain people. And of course, that certain people will be Jake. You know what I mean? Like, they will make it hard for you to, you know, get, you know, certain guns or so. They pretty much will have certain laws out there. But the thing is that when Esau do certain things, he gets a pass. But when Jake is caught with certain things, you know, of course, they're told by the police to, you know, to be on the floor and all that other shit, you know, getting stopped at first. They will also have to go through that as well, on average, as compared to their Edomite counterpart, which is a so-called white man. You know, he won't have to really go through shit like that. But now in this sense, now, you know, you see, the funny thing is, with the court system now, they allowing fucking immigrants to go as far as getting guns, and they're getting protected under the Second Amendment. You know, Esau has sinister plans behind this, because this right here could be the starting of civil war. You know, Esau is pretty much setting the stages for it. And you see, Esau doesn't try to do a thing that look good for a certain group of people for no reason. He has a sinister agenda behind it. And that's how it goes to show you how twisted minded this devil really is. And trust me, whatever little guns they have, the average Edomite has way more, you know, in their possession. Because whatever Esau got, you best believe Esau got some shit. The average Edomite got some shit that the average Jake don't even hardly know about. You know what I'm saying? When it's coming to weaponry. Because the sword is Esau's blessing. And you best believe when it's coming to the military, they are far way more advanced than that. Whatever the shit that the military got, they got shit that the average Edomite don't even know about. And we talking about the top special forces in the military too. So, but other than that, let's see. So it says in this article, judges illegal immigrant gun ruling throws grenade into crime fight, former federal agent. Judge rules that a federal law prohibiting illegal immigrants from possessing firearms is unconstitutional. A former senior bureau of alcohol, firearms, tobacco, and explosives (ATF) officials warns that a federal court's finding that illegal immigrants have gun rights protected by the Constitution could pose a danger to law enforcement. Last week, U.S. District Judge Sharon Johnson Coleman in the Northern District of Illinois ruled that a federal prohibition on illegal immigrants owning firearms is unconstitutional as applied to defendant Heriberto Carbajal Flores. Scott Sweetto, a 30-year veteran of the ATF, told Fox News the decision is hugely problematic for members of law enforcement. This really shows a complete grenade into the enforcement of federal firearms laws by specifically ATF because of how far-reaching this is, said Sweetto, a former deputy assistant director at the agency's Office of Strategic Intelligence and Information. The district court's controversial ruling in U.S. versus Carbajal Flores has divided gun rights activists and inflamed debate over where courts should draw the line on firearm regulations in a post-Bruin world. The landmark 2022 Supreme Court decision established a new standard to determine whether a law violates the Second Amendment, requires judges to conduct a historical analysis and find it consistent with the nation's tradition of firearm regulation to be held constitutional. In a decision Friday, Coleman found that while a federal ban on legal immigrants is facially constitutional, there is no historical tradition of firearm regulation that permits the gun to the government to deprive a non-citizen who has never been convicted of a violent crime for exercising his Second Amendment rights. This non-citizen possession statute violates the Second Amendment as applied to Carbajal Flores, the judge wrote. Thus, the court grants Carvajal Flores motion to dismiss. Let me see. Sweeto said Coleman's decision was illogical. He described how a friend of his, a law-abiding businessman who lives in Chicago, cannot legally carry a firearm in the city, even though he has an Illinois state firearms owner ID card. He has not been able to get a permit to have a firearm, but yet an illegal alien who fired his gun recklessly, he's allowed to have a firearm, and there's just something illogical and wrong about that, Sweeto said. You see, that's just making tension spark right there. I'm just saying outside from the article, and that eventually, with stupid shit like that, that's gonna cause people to backlash on the migrants just naturally. And that's definitely what Esau likes. He likes to stir up jealousy within different groups of people. So eventually they're gonna start trying to get carnal with each other, Anyways, let's continue on. It says, according to court documents, Carvajal Flores is an illegal immigrant who claims that he came to the United States as a young boy and has protected legal status under President Obama's Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals executive order. On June 1, 2020, he was found to be in possession of a handgun in Little Village neighborhood of Chicago, and subsequently charged with violating a federal law that prohibits non-citizens who are not legally authorized to be in the U.S. from possessing firearms. In an April 2022 decision, Coleman denied Carvajal Flores' first motion to dismiss his indictment, finding that the ban was unconstitutional. However, Carvajal Flores asked the court to reconsider that ruling following the Supreme Court's decision in Bruin and appellate decisions in the Third and Seventh Circuits that considered whether people convicted of nonviolent crimes can be prohibited from possessing firearms. Upon review, Coleman concluded that Carvajal Flores' illegally present status was not sufficient to deny him Second Amendment rights, noting that the defendant had never been convicted of a felony or any other violent crime. Sweeto said the practical effect of Coleman's decision is to severely undermine federal firearm regulations. Essentially, what the judge has done is that she has invalidated the 1968 Gun Control Act and all the amendments that have come since he told Fox News. So, and let me just bring out the last statement of the article. It says the U.S. Attorney's Office for another district of Illinois did not respond when asked if prosecutors plan to appeal Coleman's ruling. So yeah, that's pretty much it on that, and I'll bring out some scriptures and what it makes less than edifying. And best scripture that goes, with this lesson, first start off with 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 15. It says, "For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of the action shall stand in their power." Now, in a sense, this is coming into, like civil war and anarchy happening, and this is basically, a time that, is Jacob's trouble, where, brothers, we do the spirit getting on these topics, but now it's like, when it's coming to that part of the verse 16 where it talks about not regarding the kings or princes, at this point it's like Esau's giving these illegal immigrants to say so, and just basically allowing them to now be protected by gun rights. And you mean to tell me that a person that's considered to be a migrant, now they can have access to, and not only having access to guns, but they actually are protected by the Second Amendment, and you giving them a little bit more rights than an actual U.S. citizen, making it easier for them to be protected by gun rights than a U.S. citizen. That goes to show you that this country is done for. But the thing is that Esau, he experiments with chaos because he's the Lord of chaos, you know what I mean? And he wants there to be order at chaos, which is, order from, the chaos that he's pretty much trying to create. And eventually he wants to try to push his NWO. And it really shows you how much of a devil he is, And scriptures tell you that his words are smoother than butter and softer than oil, but yet, they were drawing swords. So it's like he got intentions, that's pretty much like some evil, wicked intentions. You know what I'm saying? Because this could pretty much already be like a Trojan horse for him to not only push his new world order, but for him to also go as far as pushing the MOTB, for having these illegals over here. You know what I'm saying? So Esau has a lot of plans with what he's doing. He's not just doing this shit just to be an asshole. He's doing this to pretty much lead to some sinister plans. So now he's gonna try to work in the favor of the citizens now when these migrants, like when he Esau, another thing too is like he gonna try to have someone in the back end trying to like fund these migrants with, like let's say he gonna fund them with a certain amount of money, with a decent little perks and benefits. Esau does things like he gives gifts that destroy the heart. Scriptures talk about he does that shit too, and it tells you in the book of Proverbs about the gift that destroyeth the heart. So that's another thing that Esau does, is that he gives our people certain gifts, certain little benefits, so that they could pretty much go as far as doing what he wants, fulfilling his agenda on the left-hand side. And this is going to create a perfect excuse for Esau to try to come in and play like the role of a hero, you know what I'm saying, and try to gain now the favor of the citizens to go as far as getting the migrants out of here. But now, since there's an issue in the migrants, and some migrants may have gone as far as maybe getting on the process of getting documented, now he's gonna go as far as saying like, oh, he's gonna have to push the MOTB now just to see who's the actual citizen or who's actually an illegal. You know what I'm saying? So shit like that goes to show you how Esau's trying to move in. He's trying to find every perfect excuse to just push his NWO. So you see, brothers, like in the truth, like we see these things a mile away. And then some people, don't get me wrong, in the world, like there's a few truth seekers out there that actually, may not have as much truth as we do in the spirit, but to some extent they may be woke enough to expose like certain agendas that Esau is, pretty much planning, and certain shit that he's actually trying to strategize to push his MWO, his new world order. But at the end of the day, whatever plan that Esau got, scriptures already say that how the Most High disappoint the devices of the wicked. So it's going to come to a disappointment, and it's going to come to naught eventually. Even though, don't get me wrong, this is one hell of a strategic plan that he's putting up. Like, I kind of give it to him in a sense, because it is somewhat kind of smart. And that's another thing too. It's like scriptures tell you that how he's wiser than Daniel. So this devil was given a lot of knowledge on the left-hand side on how to move, and of course he gets that knowledge from the Heavenly Father through the spiritual demon Satan on the left-hand side. And one thing about like the whole sedition amongst men, it's like I feel like it's a perfect thing that how to some extent you're gonna have some of these migrants that they of course like believe that the so-called white man, they know the history of what the so-called white man have done to their people. So very well we could just say that how a lot of these migrants, Most High may even just put the spirit of vengeance upon them to just go as far as raiding homes that are basically inhabited by Edomites, and mainly pro-Trump areas that support Donald Trump, to those Edomites that don't want the migrants over here. You know, very soon you could very well see that they're gonna wage war upon, you know, these illegals, and eventually these illegal migrants, they're gonna go as far as waging war on them too, and mainly the Antifa, you know, because those are the racist Edomites that, you know, are white supremacists. And of course, like the Most High, he's not with carnality, so to some degree he's gonna allow, you know, Jake to get their little lick back, you know what I'm saying? Because when you look at this truth and how much brothers is like really pushing this word more than ever, we really approaching the end quick. And another prophecy that goes along with you know, that has to happen, that also goes with sedition amongst men, is, you know, Ezekiel 35 verse 3 going on down to verse 9. It says, start at verse 3. Well, actually, I'm gonna start at verse 1. It says, moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it. Talking about all you damn Edomites. And it says, verse 3, and say unto it, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. Right. And pretty much when the Most High said he gonna stretch out his hand, he gonna go as far as, you know, laying you know, judgment upon, you know, the nation that he's laying his hand upon, which is talking about he gonna lay his hand upon Edom. You know, it tells you that in Ezekiel 25 verse 14, and I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel. I might as well continue along with it. And it says, and they shall do in Edom according to my anger and according to my fury, and they shall know my vengeance, saith the Lord Yahweh. So, you know, the first hand he gonna lay up is the carnal hand, which is like, he gonna show you Edomites what Jake is really about. You know, we talking about on a carnal level. That's the first. You know what I'm saying? Because don't get me wrong, he gonna show you the right hand side, which he gonna save the best for last. You know, because of course, like, the Lord gonna allow Jake to get their little lick back or so, you know, on the carnal level, but then it's like eventually they gonna die off, because, you know, the Most High is not dealing with carnality. You know what I mean? Most High is about spirituality. So, you know, they say you don't save the best for last. So in this sense, on the right hand side, the Lord gonna give his men spiritual power. And at that point, you're gonna see what Lord willing, we part of that number of the elect, those that sincerely watch these videos and, you know, do the work to the best of their ability. You know, like, we gonna really, you know, do valiantly, you know, and we're gonna go as far as like making sure that we, you know, give you Edomites and even these other nations a decent ass whooping, because it's gonna start on this side with that spiritual power. And you best believe, shit, the way the Most High gonna put that spirit upon us to jack you devils up, man, it's gonna be, you know, some hell of a time that we gonna have with that spiritual power to really whip your asses. See, one thing about carnality is that eventually that, you know, there's a limit on that. But you see, one thing about spirituality, there's no limit to the spirit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, even in the book of Isaiah, I believe it was chapter 31, if I'm not mistaken, where it talks about how, you know, behold, that the Egyptians, you know, that their flesh, you know, that their weaponry, you know, their horses are flesh, going into, you know, that carnality. So any man that goes down to Egypt for help, you know, which in this sense, it would be, you know, like the migrants or so trying to go down to Egypt, which they're in this country, you know, whatever guns or whatever weaponry that they get, you know, even if it's trying to fight against another group of people, which in the case, in a sense, like, you know, it would be pretty much like having Esau as the enemy is the right mind state, but like being carnal with it is not the right mind state, because carnality is as a death, you know. The scripture says, woe to the man that maketh flesh his arm, going into Jeremiah, I believe it's chapter 27, if I'm not mistaken, or, you know, somewhere in the book of Jeremiah. But other than that, you know, the thing is that you Edomites have a lot to pay for, you know? Because first off, y'all got the fucking nerve to even call, people illegal. You know what I'm saying? Because you Edomites, y'all are fucking illegal. Because first off, this land was given to the nation of our people, starting with Gad and Reuben. You know, this land was meant for the Native Americans, Seminole Indians, and pretty much when it's coming to the nation of our people, we were the first ones that inhabited, the lands that you Edomites have taken from us. You know what I'm saying? And then you had a whole history of rape, robbing, and murdering our people, and then eventually stealing from us, and making us work for you in, blood, sweat, and tears. And you had a whole history of violating us, and then eventually, not only that, you made us a byword, a laughingstock. Made our people suffer even to this day of Willie Lynch syndrome. Making our people go against each other, and then eventually going as far as treating one slave better than the other. You did all type of fucked up shit to our people, and you mean to tell me that y'all think y'all gonna get away scot-free? The Lord gonna put the spirit on Jake to lay a filthy hand on you, and shit, it may very well be these migrants doing it first, for all we know. But either way, it's part of prophecy, because you best believe that even the Black Panther movement and things of that nature, the Lord gonna set up another one again in that time, to come, which is in Jacob's trouble. So when that civil war pop off, you're gonna see a lot of Jakes from the Southern Kingdom too, ready to get their hands on you damn Edomites. And it says it all right here. Let me continue on to verse 4. It says, Ezekiel chapter 35, I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, going into the time when he was in captivity, going to the times when you had your way with us during the Renaissance. You conquered us, and took our lands, and then eventually had us to go as far as serving you for the want of all things. Yeah. And then you furthered the affliction on top of it. Took away our nationality, gave us black culture, made us speak the tongue of our oppressors, which would be you Edomites, and wherever we're scattered to, because we served other captivities towards these other heathen nations, to the lands that our people were scattered to, and been looked at as the untouchables within their particular land, their geographic area that we're in, their country. So yeah, y'all got a lot to pay for. And it says, in a time that their iniquity had an end, therefore as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sith thou hast not hated blood, even the blood shall pursue thee. Thus I will make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. And I will fill his mountains with his slain men, and thy hills, and in thy valleys, and in all thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword. I will make thee perpetual desolation, and thy city shall not return, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. So yeah, eventually, what the Most High is finna do is he's finna use his people to fight against you damn Edomites. There's also gonna be to your other heathens as well, but this is mostly talking about our number one adversary out of all heathen nations, which is Esau. So the Most High got something for you Edomites, and this is to mainly, let's say, who the migrants will be able to handle will be, you more than likely, you low-level peon Edomites, you everyday 12-pack drinking beer Edomite bastards. Yeah, that's who these migrants will be able to fight. You know what I'm saying? But they ain't gonna handle an Edomite that actually is active in the military. You know what I'm saying? That actually is, currently in the military and things of that nature. But they're gonna go after you low-level Edomites more than likely. You know, when the Most High give them the green light. And everything is to the Lord, so we don't know how quick things are gonna happen, but we already see things rising up, and tensions is literally like, you know, it's there, like everything is cooking up. And very soon, things is finna get active. And honestly speaking, it serves you fucking Edomites anyway to be laid desolate. You know, you Edomites don't know what it's like to suffer. I mean, y'all are suffering right now, but shit, we've been suffering for centuries. You know what I'm saying? Like, and to some degree, it's like, you know, there was some, you know, times in, let's say in our history, even though we were still serving captivity, like there was times where Jake came up and, you know, eventually Jake started to do good, you know, for a couple years, until you damn Edomites went as far as furthering the affliction and realizing that, oh, you gotta make it super hard for Jake, because it's like, even though Jake seemed to basically bounce back from the little setbacks you Edomites do, and you know, the unfair advantages that you Edomites try to make for Jake, it's like Jake always keep bouncing back. You know, Jake always try to find a way, and they actually succeed. And then you Edomites go as far as like making it even harder for Jake. You know, you try to change the game up to your liking, to your favor, and then try to just fuck with Jake on a, you know, on a even more of a, let's say, a demonic, diabolic level. Like, you Edomites really are sick, bro. Like, what's your everything? Because y'all really went as far as like, you know, flooding cities, and you know, that a lot of the lakes that you see named, you know, in America, a lot of them were actually, you know, pretty much like under the lakes will be like cities and that you Edomites have flooded that Jake was actually thriving in, you know. And that's what they did, mainly to the southern kingdom of our people, and that's really effed up, you know. And then you burned down Black Wall Street. Y'all did a whole bunch of shit, man. Y'all laid us desolate like how many times? Like, shit, I can't even count, you know. And only the Most High actually has the actual count for how many times you actually violated us and laid us desolate. And shit, and we will have to be gods to really understand the actual statistics of how many times you fucked us over and all that other shit. But I hope you know, this is the gospel right here, and you Edomites are gonna get fucked over this time. And now it's time for you Edomites to experience like what we've been going through for years, but on a worse level, because whatever y'all got right now, we just taking it from y'all. And it's funny because the migrants are starting to gain some benefits that some of you Edomites are losing out to. So eventually the upper echelon Edomites, which are the elites, they want you stupid low-level Edomites to go through this hell that y'all going through to eventually spark off a civil war. You know what I mean? And that's sad that they don't even give a fuck about you low-level Edomites, and it serves you right. And then y'all want to try to act like we're all the same people now, you know. Nah, fuck that shit. And of course y'all not gonna you know, continue to admit to that bullshit, claiming that we're all the same people, because now, how about you have that same energy with the migrants now when they coming over here, you know? Especially you you know, you racist Edomites, I ain't gonna have that same energy thinking like that, you know. I mean, so the racist Edomites out there, like, that be staying in their redneck towns and that don't want to be around Jake or whatever the case is, y'all in the right spirit any fucking way. But to you other stupid Edomites that claim to be Black Lives Matter, you know, claiming that we all the same people, y'all gonna cut that out eventually, because when y'all seeing this whole migrant crisis, seeing what your government is doing, you know, same government that's mainly supposed to back you Edomite citizens up more than anybody else when it's coming to, you know, the groups of people that's over here. You know, Esau should first and foremost look after his own, but since clearly he don't give a fuck about his own, he's actually seemed like he's supporting the migrants, you know, coming from mainly Latin America countries, which will be, you know, Jake from another kingdom. So it shows you right there that they want you Edomites to eventually, spark off this race war, because right now this is your rulership, this is your kingdom, and if you pretty much are like doing bad, you're struggling, you poor, you homeless especially, you're just a two-time loser. Because this is a time where you Edomites, like, more than ever, y'all should be, even when y'all was young, y'all should have been scamming, y'all should be, robbing banks, y'all should be on top of your game of being a thief, and you see, the crazy thing is, you got Jake that be doing that shit. Jake be on top of their things, and Jake and I ain't supposed to be doing that. But you Edomites, you have all excuses to do that, because this is your kingdom, even though you stole it from the nation of our people. But anyway, y'all gonna pretty much experience a real harsh, bitter end, because not only that, we gonna take the kingdom from you, when our Lord Yasharahla comes, but you're gonna have to be put in hardcore captivity, starting with you upper level Edomites, and then after that, pretty much like you're just gonna have to serve us for 1,000 years of captivity. And that time's gonna go by way fucking slow. And once the kingdom starts, it's gonna be infinite work for 1,000 years. And after that, your ass is getting wiped away. According to the Obadiah. So other than that, I hope I made less edifying. I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Adonai, Yahweh, Bashem, Shalom, like Yahweh, Shabbat, Shem, Kakadash, the honor to the apostle, Elsker, most on peace, I say, Jehovah, Shalom.